James, tell us about Dr. Rob Davidson.
Oh, look, this is great. It's off the convention, but it's about, the whole difference we've seen here in Australia as well about why Black Lives Matter protests are okay, but any other sort of activity outside is, of course, going to spread the deadly coronavirus. He tells CNN, I think we've got a grab here. Have a listen to this here and just check this out, and then I'm going to come back to it after the grab.
This is a public health crisis they are marching against. Systemic racism has taken so many lives in this country throughout our history. If you're born black in this country in 2017, you have a 3.5-year lower life expectancy than if you're born white.
So did you get that, guys? It's okay to go out and protest against racism because systemic racism is a health crisis. But the funny thing is, now CNN, who would have thunk it, actually didn't declare something important about this fellow. He was a Democrat candidate in Michigan for the U.S. House of Representatives. So, but they didn't put that out there that he was a political activist.
You said that what's important about that? Come on.
Guy who just thinks it's okay to go to a BLM rally, but not okay to go to your mate's house for a beer or something.
But it was even worse because before he launched into why these BLM protests are necessary, and as a public health expert, he endorses them, he was absolutely condemning the Republicans for not social distancing properly during the Republican National Convention. So and he said there would be outbreaks from that. So one's going to have outbreaks, the other one, perfectly fine. And I think we've got some vision we just can play here of one of the rallies / block parties. Oh, we don't have it, but I can tell you it was absolutely very little mask wearing and very little social distancing happening as people were jiving together in very close space. So I think this is really dangerous, Rowan, because we expect our medical professionals not to be politicised. We expect just to get the absolute truth from them, and to have activist doctors putting a spin on something like this really undermines public trust.
Well, let's talk about Victoria. I want to talk about what's been happening down there because it really is disgraceful. In a second, we'll play you some footage of the police doing what they've done in Europe, which we've warned about again and again on this show. Once the police start patrolling your thoughts, we've actually got the Victorian police now doing what they've done in Britain, knocking on people's doors and asking them what they were thinking. This is really dangerous stuff. But, Rita, you're living this nightmare of Victoria. Meanwhile, Sweden, by the way, it's all back to party time. It's all over. But there in Victoria, you're living it. Tell us what it's like.
Well, I haven't had a knock at the door, so that's good because I do send out a few tweets. So obviously Victoria Police are happy with my tweeting, but I can't believe they've got time to be doing stuff like that. But yesterday they were doing checks of cyclists at St Kilda, a Bayside suburb. I think we've got some footage of it. And they were checking the licences of these cyclists to make sure they hadn't strayed beyond 5 kilometres of their residence, because, of course, one of the restrictions is you have to be within a 5-kilometre radius. And on a nice sunny Saturday, they were at a very popular area for cyclists, Bayside, Melbourne, to make sure none of them.
This is lunacy.
All had their licences. I hope they all had. I never take my driver's licence when I jump on the bike, so I don't know what happened for those.
Rita, but this is insanity. There is no medical grounds whatsoever to back this up, none whatsoever from around the world, that the idea that you can cycle within a 5 kilometre is completely bat-esque crazy. But in Victoria, James, it seems the police think that we're bat-esque crazy for even questioning this insanity, this totalitarian approach.
Well, that's right, and I think we've got a bit of a grab here, but basically it seems that that the Victorian police, who can't manage a quarantine, are actually spending all their time reading people's Facebook posts. Have a listen to this exchange between there was a case where there was a number of police, I think 3 or 4 police in 3 police cars, showed up at a woman's house because she posted something about wanting to go for a walk to her local park and reminding people that they were able to go to the park to also exercise their right to 1 hour of exercise. And they sent a whole number of cops because they thought, oh, this might have been a protest. And let's not forget that under the public health orders in Victoria, the most left-wing state in Australia, the cops can enter your house for any reason. So they could actually have gone into her house. And I'll tell you what, guys, I remember the days when the left was actually fairly honorably on the side of civil liberties, and they have now completely forgotten all of that history in this pandemic while they #StandWithDan.